Hello everyone, welcome to today's discussion in Microsoft Excel. I'm your presenter, Rohit Kalasa. So, from Green Living Innovations Headquarters, I warmly welcome you to Data Analysis Practical using Microsoft Excel. Great, so what are we going to learn? Remember in the theory part, we discussed about how we can test our new hypothesis, which is the claim, using F-test. We even mentioned that we can use T-test as well as Z-score test. Then, for today, there is something great that I want to show you also so that we can have a practical thing, since we are doing practical. We're having people from different sectors here, those who are in financial entities. So for them, we are going to add one another example here today, which is regression. How can you analyze your business using this important and funny tool that Microsoft built? So great. Welcome to Microsoft Excel Data Analysis Practical. To start our today's discussion, we are going to start with F-test. Of all those tests that I mentioned, we are going to start with F-test. So, as you can see, I'm in my Microsoft Excel spreadsheet data here. So I have this information here and here, which is the data that I'm having. This is the data that we are going to analyze using F-test. So remember our example that we gave in the theory part. This is the one that we've gone with again. We said that if our students, they are able to study more than 6 hours a day, they can get higher marks more than 90. So 90 is the claim that we made, and this is what we want to test. That is our new hypothesis. So in this case, we are looking for the alternate hypothesis. So pay particular attention. You can pause the video so that you can follow along. Remember, this spreadsheet is shared in the group if you're in the group, or in the description below. There is a link there in the description where you can download this spreadsheet so that you can be practicing. So let me try to explain one thing here first before we start. I said we are doing Microsoft Excel. Then the data analysis, the software that we are going to use, I mentioned that it's Microsoft Excel for that. Then the test that we are about to run is F-test. So let me give you the recap of what F-test is. So F-test in Microsoft Excel, we can simply say it is a statistical tool that helps us to decide whether the variance of two populations having normal distribution are equal or not. So we are looking at the data that is having a normal distribution, and we are saying that this normal distribution is equal. So F-test is an essential part of the analysis of variance. It's the essential part of analysis variance. So you're going to find that in some books, analysis of variance, they can shortcut it as ANOVA. So this ANOVA model is the one that we are going to use. That's where F-test is falling in. So F-test, just to remind you, is performed to test a new hypothesis, as I mentioned earlier, and gives us independent variables as the result. So the sample data used in F-test is not dependent. That's the fact. It's not dependent. So F-tests can evaluate multiple models simultaneously in the large variety of settings. So the setting that we are having in this video is that students, if they are able to study for more than 6 hours, they can get, or they can score 90% in the exams, 90% and going up. So we need to know some of the functions that are found in Microsoft Excel. So I invite you to the class that is coming, which is Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. That's where we do so much things that are found in Microsoft Excel. Now in this course, I'm just going to give you just some recaps of what we do in Microsoft Excel. So we have these buttons in the ribbon part here. We have the file, the home, insert, and this. So to analyze data, we use mostly the data button. So you can come on this tab, which is the data. Then it is going to give us sub commands here, like get external data here. You can drive data from wherever it is. If it's on the website, you can grab it and bring it in Microsoft Excel so that you can start running. Then The other part that I love most is the filtering part here and the data tools, because this is what we normally do. But I'm not having one thing that I'm here for, where I can find another settings or another mode of functions, which is data analysis button itself. So I want it to appear here where my cursor is, if you can see at this far end, right far end. That's where I want it to appear, but I don't have it. I believe most of you here, even your computers, they are not able to show that. So how can we do that quickly? We need to install it. You don't need data, you don't need to start downloading anything. Microsoft Excel built it and they left it hanging there. So it is not just in the ribbon, but if we try to customize it, we can have that button, the very important one that we want to use when calculating this mathematics that we are about to start doing, which is data analysis and interpretation. So let's start. Click on File. Once you're on File, you're going to have this green ribbon here. Then go down the last option, which is Options itself. Then there is the box like this one, which is going to pop up. So you're going to have General, the formulas, the proofing, save language. Then what I'm interested in here is add-ins, because this is where Microsoft Excel has hidden the buttons that I want, the commands that I want to run on this data that I'm having. So click on add-ins. You're going to find that I'm having active ones here, the active applications or active add-ins that are running, which is Analysis 2-Pack VBA. I activated this one, the currency. Then in this part, I'm having inactive application add-in, and this is where I'm having Analysis 2-Pack. So what I need to do is to activate Analysis 2-Pack. So I'll quickly come here on Microsoft Excel add-ins, then I'll click on Go. Then there is this box which is going to pop up. So you're going to find that Analysis 2-Pack, which is the first one, the box is unchecked. Make sure it is checked, then click OK. Then you are going to find that here I'm having data analysis button. So I'm good to go now and analyze this data using F-test. So how can we do that? Remember, we mentioned that when we are analyzing data, it is good to group that data to formulate a table. So first of all, what we're going to do is to make this raw data here into a table. As you can see, it is very raw. So let me try to make a table. Why am I having a table? Remember, a table is very nice because I'm going to group these things. So if I want to highlight everything when running the test, I'll just come and highlight the whole table and enter the values there. It is going to be easy for me than start picking values one by one. So variables must be organized in a table. So quickly I can just use the shortcut, the ones that I love, which is Control T. Then I'll make sure that the table is having the headers. The header is boys and girls. I click OK. Then I'm having the table here. Alternatively, if you are not familiar with the shortcuts, the Control T, then you can do the normal thing. You click on the data there, then you go on Insert, then click the table, then your data is going to be well grouped like that. Great. So I'm good to run a test. Imagine that if I have the names here, I can sort the names out so that I clean the data. That's what we discussed, that we need to clean the data before we start analyzing. But in this case, I'm just having the numbers. But again, I can sort them out in order according to the way I want it to be. So I can use these arrows here. They are filters. These are filter buttons here. So I can do like smallest to largest. Same here, smallest to largest. So it is going to be organized like this. So I've cleaned that data and I need now to run the F-test. So let's start. How can I run F-test? To do F-test, we need to execute the following steps. So please pay particular attention and watch. You are free to pause the video so that you can follow along. We're going to do about 7 steps today for you to run this test. Great. So the first step to analyze this data is to use the data analysis button. That's why we had it. So you can bring the cursor anywhere in these empty cells, then go to the data button in the green ribbon here, then find data analysis button, the one that we just installed, then click on it. What are we doing here? We are running F-test. So you can go down and find f-test 2 sample variances. Great. 2 f-test 2 sample variances. Then double click on it if you want. Then you are going to have variable range 1 and variable range 2. So let me try to spend some time explaining what this really means. Great. The variable range 1 is the data that we want to test against the variable range 2. So these are the values that I mentioned that these we are about to test them. They are dependent. So the first dependent, which is this data for the boys here. So in this range, I'll come here on 95, which is the first number there. Then I'm going to highlight everything here. That is the range. Then I'll come to the variable range 2. I'll come from 40. Then I'll swiftly go up to that. That's the range. Then here in the labels, don't mark it anything. Then in the alpha part, I mentioned that f-test runs at the 0.05%, which is the control or the neutral data that we have. It is controlling our discussion here. So it is important to note that this must remain the same. Great. Then in the output range is where now we want our data to be displayed in, or where it must appear after running the test. So let's pick any cell. So I want this data or the test to come and be pulled here. This is where I want the results to come out from. Then I'll simply click OK. Then great, I'm having the data that I really wanted. So I've analyzed the data using f-test. So let me try to explain now the meaning of all this, what we have done. What is the meaning of f-test? What we have simply done here. Great. So pay particular attention. The f-test is used where we need to figure out whether a critical distinction between the variances of two datasets exists or not. That's the first thing that you need to remember about f-test. Then the second point is that the null hypothesis is rejected if the variance of the two datasets are unequal and accepted if the variances are equal. So what we mean is this. Remember, our null hypothesis, the one that we are about to reject or to accept, is if students they are able to study for more than 6 hours a day, they can get more than 90% in the exams. So we tried now to group them into different data sets. And the first data set is for boys and the second one is for girls. So if this data, the variance is the same, it means that we are going to accept the null hypothesis. If not, then we are going to reject it. So the null hypothesis is rejected if the variance of the two datasets are unequal and accepted if the variances are equal. So in this case, you can see that the mean here, let's start with the mean. For boys is 91, which is the figure that we stated. So mean in this case, it is talking about the null hypothesis. It is the null hypothesis that we mentioned that boys, they can score 90 going up. So we are going to accept that yes, in this case, boys, if they are able to study for more than 6 hours, then they can score more than 90% in the exams. Then for the girls, it is the mean here in variable 2, it is giving us 61, which is false. So we are going to reject the null hypothesis. So another point here that you really need to remember is that the smaller the variance, the closer to the answer we are, or to the null hypothesis, or to the truth. If the number is big, then it means that we are far from the truth. In this case, for boys, the mean is 91 and the variance is 26. 26 is small number, so we are close to the fact. And variable range 2, the mean is 61. This means that the variance is giving us 166, which is very much far from the truth. So we are going to accept that if boys, they are able to study for more than 6 hours, they can score more than 90%. That's the first 3 things first two things that you need to remember. Then the meaning of observation is the total number of participants or the population. As we can see, we have 12 participants in boys and 12 participants in girls there. So the F-test calculates the probability or the likelihood of variation. That is what is there. So the F-test shows an error if there are these things there, you are able to observe them. Then F-test shows an error if 1, the number of values of array 1 or array 2 is less than 2. Then if the variance of either of the two arrays is equal to 0. So the F-test cannot be processed on a single sample, meaning that two datasets are always required. The F-test function ignores the text of sample data and gives number of the outcome. So basically, this is what we need to know about F-test. Great. So thank you very much for following along in this discussion, but we can do much more better apart from this. Before I let you go, let me show you some tricks that you can add.